Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
It's time, it's overdue, past time for me to update my disclaimer messages, my disclaimer opening, because here's the problem. I can't share information for others to learn from without teaching the idiots running this country. That could quite possibly be one of the reasons why I'm still alive. But I'm trying to remain relevant so they don't kill me. I don't care. They've already destroyed my life over the past 10 years. But my first 50 years were, I explain it like this. I have lived a life that is above and beyond your wildest dreams. And simultaneously, it was beyond your worst nightmares. So that's the, I forget what that law is. It's equal and opposites, yin and yang. But it doesn't need a label. It's, it's divine providence is what it really is. It's divine providence. There we go. That'll piss off some of you politicians who don't worship. Oh yeah, you worship God, but not my God. And you worship a Messiah that's not my Messiah. So, anyways, I'm not giving out legal advice. I'm just giving out educational suggestions, for doing proper research and verification information that you are getting, and hope and share my personal experiences, my successes and my disaster pieces. So I'm gonna put this in the beginning of this video that you're watching right now, and then I'll go to work on all the other stuff. I can't fix anything without, no one. You can't fix things without God's help, first and foremost, whether you believe in Him or not. You better look into that, because, well, you still got time, because I'm telling you what. Watch this clip right here.
Don't waste any more of your time worrying about whether or not you are the bad guy to those narcissistic family members or those narcissistic people that you've been dealing with in your life. You are the bad guy. Be the bad guy. Embrace being the bad guy. Here's the thing about being the bad guy. In the Bible, Jesus was the bad guy to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, was he not? God is the bad guy to the devil, as well as to the atheists and whatever else are running around here on this earth. If you're not the bad guy to these people, then you are all things to all people, which means you're a bad guy to yourself. You're an enemy to yourself because you have no truth that you're standing for. It's better to be the bad person to those narcissistic people you have no business being with than to try to be all things to them and end up being a bad guy to yourself and an enemy to yourself.
Make no mistake, Pastor Brian Smith is talking about me right here. And I'll show you why. That's what this video is all about, showing you why.
And that is not a coincidence. And we have to stay strong. You got to understand there's always going to be tares in our congregation. When the last split happened, I finally just, thought to myself, this is never going to stop. And Satan knows that at that time it was affecting my blood pressure and everything. And God got me to this point because I was aware it's never going to stop. There's always, that's why I tell the leadership team, there's always going to be that next snake, that next flake, that next fake, AKA tares. There's wheat and tares in every congregation. We're not supposed to pull the tares because they look like wheat. And, you know, we're just supposed to stay on guard and don't get sucked into gossip. Don't get sucked into other people's bad attitudes and thing, you know, because it brews. It puts little.
But if you watch this guy, he does exactly everything that he warns everybody else about doing. All right, let's get started with this. So, I'm going to put this at the beginning of this video that you're watching right now. And then I'll go to work on all the other stuff. I can't fix anything without, you know, no one. You can't fix things without God's help, first and foremost, whether you believe in it or not. You better look into that because waste too much time. Because I'm telling you what. Watch this clip right here.
My culture, I mean, my culture is Celt, really. And we do retain quite a bit of that in Ireland, and also the Scots and the Welsh. We do have a sort of unique character as a people, and thank God for that. To stand in line for hours to get a loaf of bread, literally. Celtic Tiger in Ireland, remember that? The interest rates, which made the mortgage payments to increase the interest rate. I swore that I would seek truth, that I would follow the words of Jesus, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Nothing else will set you free. Lies will never set you free. Money will not set you free. Only a pure heart and seeking truth and being honest about the world that you see and the person looking you in the mirror. Honesty, truth. And believe you me, the truth hurts. I want no one penny of my money going to pay for this genocide and corruption. It is disgusting. It is shameful. It is something that we will face when we meet our maker, our judge. And I look forward to meeting him and hearing everything I did wrong and seeing just how much more I could have done. But in the meantime, I will do my best to fight this enemy, which is all of our enemies, who serves the opposite of God, the fallen angel known as Satan. Fact.
In 2015, I had created a hashtag, Tell 5 People, and I was helping all these people that were having problems in Dayton, Ohio, with the family law court and child support and children's services, taking people's kids. And I was helping a girl. She goes by Penny Lane on YouTube, and she's like, she made a video for me that she took down, and I no longer have a copy of. But anyways, I was helping all these people. I had 7 Facebook accounts maxed out at 7,000 people. You know, and Tell 5 People was what I was using to post on Anthony Capizzi and the county commissioners' Facebook pages. You know, and that story is on this channel elsewhere. But at that same time, I saw this this episode right here where the Heavy Metal Church meets the Today Show, and I was like, holy crap. So I started watching it, and I'm not going to play any of it, but this really got my attention. And when I looked at I looked at the videos and their channel and everything, and I saw people that I used to party with going to the church. I'm like, wow. So when I came up to Dayton, I think it was I don't think that date's correct. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I came up for Christmas time to visit my grandchildren from the Florida Keys, and I took my grandson. They were at the school over. Um, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I'm doing this unscripted. I don't need a script because this is the truth. Um, they were, I think it's Grafton Kennedy. Yeah, Grafton Kennedy, I think was the name of the school. Anyways, they were in the school, and we went there for the Christmas Eve um, show, and there was no parking. So we didn't get to go. So the next weekend, I took my grandson out there. But anyway, I get back to the Keys and I start promoting this stuff. And this girl, I remember her name now, Shannon Gaver. And she started telling me about how her grandmother, her 76-year-old grandmother, was thrown out of the First Heavy Metal Church. They said that she was there to um, steal her or to kidnap her grandson, and Shannon told me about how, uh, you know, that they threw her grandmother out, and how her sister, who was a part of the church, was had stolen her kids. So I started posting, asking questions on, um, you know, on their Facebook page, on the Heavy Metal Church Facebook page, and they blocked me, and my comments are gone from every one of these videos that you're gonna see, and this is another version of that same, you know, commercial, the interview with the Today Show. So what is it? Yeah, the Today Show. So it's the same video. Anyways, I'm like, and there's one I'm looking for now where it's the last time I went to this church because there was some video magazine did did this piece on the church, and I mean I got more airtime than anybody in the video. I mean the camera just loved me, for some reason, and then that video may be taken down because of all this, but I'll keep looking for it and put it in this video. So when I started posting that stuff and I was still in the Keys, um, they took it down off the they blocked me from their Facebook page. So when I moved up here in 2017, I contacted Brian Smith. I said, "Hey man, I'd like to meet you face to face and discuss this, And I met him over at Timber Timberlane High School in Northridge, and he said he didn't remember. He didn't know. He don't remember it. I promise you, he remembers hashtag tell 5 people. He remembers me. He probably has nightmares about me. So, anyways, they put me back on, on their Facebook page, and excuse me. They had food pantry once. I think it was once a month at the in the high school parking lot, and I had broke my foot, and I went to the pantry and I got one of the guys that belong to the church, hey, man, I've got a broken foot. Could you get my uh, box, get my food for me? Sure. So they come over, put all this stuff in the back of my truck, and when I get back home, I getting the boxes out, carrying them out, like, wow, this box is heavy, man. They must have hooked me up. And I get in the house, and it was a box of apples. Nothing else. A box of apples. So I contacted Brian Smith, sent him a message on Messenger, and he said, we'll stop by tomorrow and um, we'll hand you some food out the back door at the school. So I go over there, and they hand me this lunch bag, like one of those little brown lunch bags that you should take to school, full of food. I mean, this is to replace a month, a month supply that they were handing out, with meat and everything in it the day before. So, and I started looking at their website and everything, and they were going down into Northland Village, and taking the Lord to the um, people down there, the poor people down there. And I was looking at them like, holy crap. The people down there with the church was Major Updike. He was the head supervisor for um, children's services. And his wife, Monica Updike, members of the church down there, and the low-income housing, spying on these families. Because that's what they were doing. And immediately, I started posting that on their Facebook page, and simultaneously, I'm doing this conversation with Brian on Messenger, and he doesn't even see that I'm copying and pasting all of this nastiness that he's saying to me right on their Facebook page. I mean, he just cussing like a sailor, telling me how much of a piece of crap I was and everything, So, and then, afterwards he realized what had happened, and they blocked me off of their Facebook again, And I don't have Facebook anymore. I don't need Facebook. It's garbage, and anybody that uses that is garbage, like the heavy metal church. So, here we go. I'm going to get into the tell 5 people goes to heavy metal church. You can go back to when First Heavy Metal Church was still at Timberlane High School at Northridge in their auditorium, and see where Pastor Brian Smith would come out, and he would start almost every sermon with a can of Monster energy drinks, talking about how he should get an endorsement from Monster. And my comments on those videos are gone now, but I was like, it looks like you already have endorsement, because the can has 666 on it, and this is what MILFs drink and all that stuff, he removed all those comments, and I still got those videos somewhere, but I'm not going to post that in this, so I'm going to stay focused on exposing this church for what it really is, and Brian's not giving me much choice here. I contact him by email and give him all of this information, useful information that his congregation needs to see because it affects their daily lives. Okay, veterans and families, and you know, and back when I was posting all this hashtag Tell Five People stuff on there on my Facebook and everything about the church, um, you know, I confronted Pastor Brian um, when we had our meeting, you know, and he put me back. He unblocked me on Facebook. I'm like, so why don't you endorse this Tell Five People hashtag? You know, because this is important stuff that your congregation needs to see. You know, and that's when I discovered that you know his congregation had Major Updike and Monica Updike and what they were doing down in uh, Northland Village projects, you know, and you know they're part of it. They were part of it. I had people contacting me saying that their kids were coming from school. That's part of the congregation of this church are the teachers and administration at the Northridge High School, and they were telling me, "Hey, man, my kids come home from school saying that their teachers are telling them to report anything that they see in the classroom, you know, or see at home, you know, drug abuse, anything, you know, where these uh, Monica Updike and Major Updike could swoop in and steal their children. Okay, I exposed all of that, and Heavy Metal Church removed all of that. You know, so they removed the comments, they removed my videos that I posted on their timeline, on YouTube even. You know, all the comments, everything from the Truth Whisperer. You know, I had a hashtag called the Truth Whisperer and hashtag Tell Five People. So they removed all that stuff, you know, and I think it's important that people know that, you know, even the congregation, you know, which most of them won't want to believe it. They won't want to believe that this guy is really a demon. He's teaching false doctrine, and he refuses to acknowledge any of the stuff that I've shown him and share it with you. You know, good information and stuff that show a message he should be giving to his people. You know, but anyways, now I don't. You know, it would be great if what I originally thought about this church was reality, you know, that they were doing good stuff, you know, because they've got all these people in there, you know, but they're not teaching real doctrine, actual biblical doctrine from a perspective of, you know, where who controls the information that you get, who you're not allowed to even speak about. You know, they're the ones that have subverted the Bible. You know, and it's your duty as Christians to know this, and it's Pastor Brian Smith's duty to teach you this and show you this. You know, he needs to be telling you what the 613 commandments are. You know, and he's not. And I've shared all that information with him, and he could care less about it because he just wants to keep, you know, the name of his band is Saint Hellion, you know, and smoking and cussing and hanging out at the titty bars and all that stuff, you know. It sounds cool, right? But you got to look at the overall message for what it is, and it's not good. You know, I don't know, you know that Brian Smith is even aware of this, but I know one thing, he doesn't care about it. So This is the last time that I went to First Heavy Metal Church at Timberlane High School Auditorium. And as you can see, all of my comments about this um, video have been taken down, just like they take down everything. They don't, you know, the truth doesn't need to be hidden. If these people were legitimate, they wouldn't be hiding the truth from its congregation. Okay? So I'm going to let this play out. And this will be the ending of this video.
I knew God wanted me to start this church. He wanted me to start a church for people that would normally never go to church, that would normally never step foot into a traditional church building, a traditional church environment. My first message was entitled, "You Don't Clean Up Before You Take a Shower." And I didn't know that it was going to be a church. I just knew I had to preach this one message to all my friends and to all the fans of my band. I never wanted to be a pastor. I still don't half the time. This is the hardest job I've ever done in my life. But it's like all of a sudden something began to shift, and I started a Bible study in my drummer's living room where we had like 21 people total. We stick to the same gospel, but again, we are far from traditional. Even if you look at our church shirts and everything, it's skulls and wings, it's
Yeah, it's all satanic.
Maltese crosses, it's, you know, we try to go against the grain. I purposely dress like this every week because I don't ever want to outdress the congregants. If a family comes to the First Heavy Metal Church of Christ and they're poor, I don't want them feeling less than or feeling
Who's that sitting in the audience?
like a self-esteem low because everybody else is decked out.
And who was that? Whose hand was that?
And you are mine.
That's why we look the way we do, why we hold service at noon. We're hoping to catch people that may have partied all night before. We don't have a dress code. We play a lot of heavy rock outside of the normal Sunday service. But when Sunday comes around, we are trying to appeal to everyone. So, you know, we'll offer free earplugs for, you know, for our older people and everything. But we don't get too heavy on a Sunday. We'll still do rock and roll, but just not the gunk, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. We don't add to or take anything away from the Bible. We preach sound doctrine. That's why a lot of the naysayers that we had from other churches and stuff, they'll look at our...
But he packages all this stuff up so it sounds wonderful, you know, and the purpose of it sounds wonderful, you know, but when you cut beneath these undertones and all of this heavy metal stuff, you know, and the cussing and smoking cigarettes and all that shit, you know, it's all phony.
Our appearance and think, oh, you know, that can't be a real church. But then when they hear what we preach, oh, okay, they're preaching sound doctrine. They just look different.
So, Pastor Brian Smith, why do you remove all my comments? You know, I mean, that's an honest question. I think this guy has the idea.
Brian is divorced, by no surprise, and now dating.
Here, let's go ahead.
I'm from the Illinois area, and this is a premiere, or excuse me, first video of my channel, and my purpose in this, well, number one is it's a Christian channel. We'll talk music, we'll talk whatever. But today I want to talk about the exposure of the First Heavy Metal Church of Christ, their Christ, not the Christ of the Bible, located in Dayton, Indiana, or Ohio, excuse me. I learned of this church. I'm on Facebook, and I learned of this church, and they wanted to blind me to start, and we're going to chit-chat more detail at the end. But this is not a church. This is a cult. And let me take a few minutes here. I got some stuff jotted down, so, you know, I wouldn't get all nervous or anything. But hear this out. And when we're done, we'll chit-chat for a few minutes. I got about a half hour here. The First Heavy Metal Church of Christ is a church located in Dayton, Ohio. And in reality, it's a cult. It is a cult. You'll see why by the end. Their leader, Brian Smith, claims he is teaching the Bible, but yet during that time, he is known to cuss. They used to do a unplugged video, unplugged, where Brian would have the Bible open, cigar in his mouth, and a bottle of bourbon at hand. A pastor. Not in my book. You could also count on some cussing as well. Also, in many conversations with Brian through their website, he would often try to dig into my personal life. Like business said, ain't even his. It's not a lot of people's. He made it known I should eat a box of Twinkies and nap. And that was said here recently. Brian also spread lies to two friends of mine that want nothing to do with me now.
Sounds like Brian Smith.
And via the Bible, it puts him guilty of causing division among the brethren. Because I had these two friends who live in Florida now that he went and lied to them, I'm sure, about something. And they're not friends of mine anymore. Brian is divorced, by no surprise. And now dating again. And keep in mind, the Bible says pastors are to be husbands to one wife. One wife, not two, not three. Unless there's death, of course. And that probably won't happen here. However, he is a cult leader that plays church. So what do you expect? There are a number of ways that Brian walks in the flesh. And some of my references here, if you're a Bible student or a student of the Bible, will come from Galatians 5:19 through 22. Or 21, excuse me. Uncleanness. Brian has unclean thoughts and dirty language, along with unwholesomeness in his life. Heresies. Brian might think he teaches the Bible, but living such a evil lifestyle, he has proven to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. So what he puts forth goes in vain. I don't see how somebody that claims to be a pastor tells somebody to go eat a box of Twinkies, take a nap, does Bible study videos with a cigar lit up, bourbon in hand, and cussing. I just can't. Dissensions. Brian has caused discord between me and two of my friends. Brian enjoys conflict behind his computer screen and lacks harmony. Let me keep in mind here, as I just brought up harmony.
Yeah.
I'm not against Brian. I am not against the people there.
Me neither.
I want them to wake up that especially the people there, that they've been blinded by heresy and lies. You don't teach something, and while you're teaching it, preaching it, whatever he calls it, and go and cuss up a storm during the sermon. I know we're not all human, or we're not all perfect. We're human. We stem back to Adam and Eve back in Genesis, but pastors are held to a higher standard. Me doing this this channel holds me to a standard. I'm not going to come on here and talk about this and turn around and do it myself. There's no way. Outbursts of wrath. Brian has shown over and over strong emotion of anger, and he is always using obscenities. I can get as mad as I can, but I still attempt not to do that. But I've never known of a pastor to do that. And if you start hearing some barking, it's my dog getting all hyped over here. Brian has also caused division, speaking of my friends, disunity, and he calls himself a pastor. Negative. The things I just mentioned come from Galatians in the Bible.
I'm going to stop that right there because, I've already proven all this in this video, but I've proven it for the last 7 years, and I've reached out to Brian, and he refuses to talk to me, and I've recently discovered the real reason why the First Heavy Metal Church is not at Timberlane High School anymore in Northridge, Ohio. But I'm going to save that for another video. Now's your chance, Brian, to tell the truth about why you're no longer at the high school and in the auditorium there. That's all I got for you today. I'm not mad at Brian. Like I said, I've apologized to him and I've forgiven him. And he has yet to respond to any of this by email. He's got my phone number. He's had my email for 10 years. So the gloves are off, and I'm doing what the Bible says. I'm not attacking him. I am just exposing him for the fraud that he is. You may not like that, and you might belong to that church, but that's uncomfortable truth that you're going to have to deal with. You're looking right at it, you're seeing it, you're hearing it, but are you understanding it? And that's the uncomfortable truth about the hashtag Tell 5 people going to First Heavy Metal Church of Christ in Dayton, Ohio. So, like and subscribe to my channels whenever you see them across the internet, and share this information because people need to know this stuff, and Pastor Smith will not address this. He's not a pastor. He's a cult leader. He's going to take an entire congregation of people straight into the pits of hell.